Yo, what's up? It's time for a smaller but still importante tour of my iPad. So there hasn't been a lot, other than the obvious. I think you guys already have seen this. It's from the Old Guard, aka the ship that I care most about. I really do want to post like the progress, or rather the time elapse video for this, but let's see. Let's go ahead and do that now. Time elapse. So, bear with it being a certain way at this time. I think I was trying to get. Okay, there we go. She's correct. She came correct. And that's how she was drawn. I tried to also go for whatchamacallit, there we go. Tried to go for, this is how I tended to like doodle this, and how these like the really weird but interesting color scheme came about. The green, like other than like what came from the movie. I was having a conversation with my friend late at night, and without knowing it, I was getting some good kind of colors in there. I think the lines being green, or the underlines being green, really helped a lot. I should have changed both their skin color to have a more green hue, but I am not that super adventurous with colors that much yet, so. Yeah. And of course my favorite parts, which are the decorative elements. There we go. I really don't know if they are romantically involved as a couple. Like, I hope that they are. We had one gay couple in the show. Why not both? Pen 15 season 2 ended up being amazing. It's a lot shorter than the first season, but I still enjoyed it heavily. This is, I'm going to shrank that boy, but for reasons, y'all know why. But let me explain. I try to upload cropped versions of the coloring pages that I have for my Patreon, because in the past, and this was way back when I had more notoriety, so I don't know if it's the same now. I'm not trying to flatter myself, but I would get people stealing the fan art and not just reposting it, but selling it on their website. So I do not want to have that happen again. So there's I'd like to show the time elapse for this too. Let's see. What I did was, well, we went through some sketches and things. I think if you guys saw in the earlier sketchbook tour, in the foldable page, I did a couple of practice compositions, and this guy, he this illustration took about a couple days and some podcasts, because as you see here in this first part, what was going on with Aang and Katara, like I was concentrating so much on the details that things weren't flowing quite right, and these are our main boys, these are our main children, and yet they don't look right, you know what I mean? Their faces didn't look right. I wanted them to not look exactly like the cartoon, but how, it's like not to be blunt about it, but like it's like Asian characters in an Asian inspired fantasy world, so why wouldn't I want them to look Asian? So the flow in here was a little chunky. You guys see it? Like, it's a little bit clunky and angular. Not that I'm trying to get that in the show, but it's like, you see how, especially in this part, where Zuko's, like, I was just messing with his head for so long. And if you follow like the line of sight where, yeah, so it was like divorced. Like, let's. I tried to go back to the source material, and then try to. It's, things didn't flow right. So it was just better anyway, just to have Aang in the forefront, Katara at the top. I'm biased a little bit because I'm putting Zuko and Katara way too close together because I wanted them to. But then, the image didn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah. And this flow made way more sense. You see how, like, I just tried to adjust it so that we got more curves, and just a little bit more patience paid off. And I think it helped that I did those sketches earlier. Someone mentioned on Instagram, like, I like how you made Katara and Sokka actually brown, and that's kind of, Avatar fandom is kind of guilty of that. Like, they tend to like make Katara and Sokka very, very light, very light, lighter than they actually are. I put a couple of like filters in there that I kind of went back on them. I think I tried to go back to the old sheet. They look a little bit orange here, but you know, it's just, yeah. But yeah, that's the final result. Let me shrink that boy, and then let's go back. It's the post that y'all probably see on social media. Now, before, the decision was to make all the coloring pages for the year to be Avatar themed. I was just going to do whatever phone backgrounds I wanted to do, and this was one of the results. We're not going to actually pursue that, though, but this is a strong mermaid. She's very strong and muscular, and she has enormous guns. And yeah, I was thinking of doing like a bunch of mythical creatures instead, but Avatar it is. Avatar, it's so it shall be. And we got some more. I was ranting and raving about, like, what if Aloy was not like Aloy? But you know what? I still dig, like, rather than Aloy having these very awful, like, white people dreads where everything is, like, smelly and unsanitary and very unkempt with, like, dandruff and oil and, like, there's traditions of Viking women and Viking men, for that matter, in a lot of the Nordic countries, of a lot of hair plaiting and braiding, and those traditions are something that I think, like, why don't we do that? So this was an alternative design for Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. Of course, there is her, spoiler, it's her mom. And so, yeah, that's this Aloy. She looks a little bit stiff here again, but that's just me not working through enough of the poses and stuff. So, yeah, I tried to be a little bit more angular with her, like, this is kind of neat, her armor. And she looks a little bit skinny here, and even though her layers of clothing, so I would have liked her to be a little bit more bulkier because of all the stuff that she has on. So that's what I would have liked to change about that. Maybe I'll change it. I think I'd like to color it at some point. This over here, if we were looking at the same thing, I'm not going to go through this stack on the left of Aloy, so we're going to go through here. Y'all probably have seen this one. I think I'd like to make more comics about skincare, because skincare Twitter and skincare internet is very, very intense. And so, yeah. And not to plug myself or anything, but I'm going to do that. These are the Avatar stickers that I'm going to be printing out and cutting myself. I'm going to format it a little bit more and change the colors, but these are the stickers, y'all. It's so much fun. Patrons, certain patrons will get these instantly mailed to them, but if you want to order them in October, feel free to visit my shop, which, stay tuned for more of that. I also plan to make more of the characters. A lot of people suggested, please make the Dangerous Ladies, aka Azula, Tylee, May, which I don't know why they spell her name, pronounce her name like that. It's Mai, but you know what? It's anglicized names. We're gonna complain about, like, Ong instead of Ing. But you know what? It's fine. It's okay. Get it over with. But these are some other planning stickers. I plan to make them a little bit transparent so that you can put them in planners. For a lot of people that like to procrastinate, it's not because, it's some part of it could be laziness, maybe a little bit of that, but I also think that we live in a place of fear. Like, a simple task that could normally take 10, 15 minutes, because it's, there's certain aspects of executive dysfunction that don't cooperate with being able to do it, and then you're just making things harder. And so these phrases kind of helped me when I'm trying to do several tasks at the same time. So just get it over with. It's just a chore. It's not going to hurt you. Just do it. It's annoying, but we will get it done. So I plan to make these stickers transparent on plastic, and then you can just easily put them in planners and stuff. So I'd like to do that. I plan to do these in plastic as well, like plastic versions, as well as like paper matte versions. Waterproof ones are too. I have these stickers already in supply, so I would like to put that in the store as well and improve on that a little bit. This was a beautiful time where I really enjoyed drawing her. So I'd like to show you what's up with that. Let's what I how I did the process was the old woman who is, I think, a mother or the grandmother. Oh, there's a baby version. The grandmother of a photographer from Chotronet. On Instagram. I'll link it below. But she is a model, and I don't know what it is about. Like, the models could be more diverse, but what I really like about the photographer is that she tends to have, like, she captures the subject in this very ethereal light. So the original photograph didn't have the exact arrangement with the plants and stuff. And I, of course, added the fairy wings and made her eyes, exaggerated certain features to make her look more cartoony and cutesy for an old lady. But yeah, the problem with Photoshop is that you have to, in order to do a lot of the atmospheric effects that are in Procreate, in order to do a lot of the workarounds for the atmospheric effects that you can do in Photoshop, because Photoshop and I are separated and no longer with each other. I have to do that with Gaussian blur, and so I duplicate the layer, and then I blur that second layer and put it underneath, and I do that maybe once or twice, depending on how much I want certain things like refined. And then you see that glow that's around her white hair, which is probably my favorite part that created the look of this painting. I probably did that, I duplicated the layer about a couple times. And so that's the way I do my workaround. I probably should have done it around the flowers too, but you know what? The flowers can pop up on their own. So I really have to find like these alternative techniques and how to do that to make like certain techniques that I've used in Photoshop, like I said. So yeah, work smarter, not harder. This is a lot brighter in this version than the first version, so it's a little, yeah, so that came out a little bit brighter, but this is the original version. She's very cute. I think I could have done a little bit more with the face. I got a little bit sketchy with like the eye circles and stuff, but she's a little more light skinned, so she's reflecting the colors that are around her. So yeah, all right. Let's see what else is in this. All right, so you've seen some of these before, but now I'm doing complete sheets, and this section's not done, but completed sheets for my Anino characters that I plan to pitch for, and here's some character designs. This is the situation that was going on in the past. This is the first image. It's not that, oh god. So this was done on a bus during a vacation, and I stuff was jiggling everywhere. I could not draw properly, and also I was out of practice, and so like drawing sucked. But you got to sit down, you got to work on it, you got to make it better. So this one was done when I was actually not on a vehicle, so I did this in someone else's house, but I tried to refine the lines. Let's turn that opacity way downstairs. Okay. I tried to refine the lines a little bit more. It ended up a little bit stiffer than the first versions, but yeah. So, when you meet a ghost, you gotta make sure the ghost is friendly and won't kill you and possess you like an exorcist. But if it's a friendly entity and the ghost gets you out of a pickle, you form a team. You form a pact with each other. And in the pact, you keep the ghost safe, and the ghost keeps you safe until the ghost can guide a certain number of souls back into their source. Then they gain more power and skill to perhaps make their wish come true, whether it is that their soul will be put to rest in some place better, or their energies can reincarnate to a different life form or something. We shall see. So I'm trying to create the world building system, and that allows, without getting all sacrilegious or anything, that kind of allows things that are not really just and fair, there's if you could do good things and you'll go to heaven, but more so it's like we're as things in the afterlife, we're merely like organisms that, we feed off of each other, and eventually our energies will feed somebody else. And so I'm trying to work it like that, and similar to things like Mushishi, it's like similar to like nature, rather than you do bad thing, you go to hell, you do good thing, you go to heaven or something, and all the justice. Not everything is just in the world, but there's a certain order. And sometimes things break the order, and sometimes there are anomalies and things like that. Much like in nature, things mutate and change, but it's all an interesting spectacle with a world unseen. So I hope I try to develop that world with these two characters while addressing things about, as an immigrant girl, how do you fit in? How do you not be a weirdo? You want to fit in. But you know what? What if I am a weirdo? Who cares? So yeah, I'm trying to explore that with that, but I'm trying to make the environment and stuff. So bear with me, guys. I'm trying to keep it together. I'm excited about it, but I'm also really careful. The last one, when I get into the subject of what is just and fair, because death is often very unfair, but sometimes, what would happen, like there's atrocities in the world that happen, they're probably above the moral pay grade of the very simple story that I'm writing, but sometimes people die and they didn't deserve that. Bad things happen to good people, but where do their spirits go if their deaths are unjust? Do their spirits just wander off until they get the justice that they deserve? That's a whole nother political such thing that I'm not going to address here. But I saw this documentary where this family wanted so bad to have a baby, another child, and so they had a little girl, but as maybe in my story, like this is based off of a true story, and the true story was this documentary I watched on Netflix that the little girl had a form of cancer, and when she passed away after battling the cancer, they decided to cryogenically freeze her brain in the hopes that someday, if technology advances in about 100 or 200 years or 150 years, that they could bring her back, treat her cancer, and rebuild her a new body. How would that work? We just don't know. And partially it could be that the family didn't know how to cope with the little girl's death, but I'm thinking, this is a 3-year-old. This is a little baby child who barely comprehends and understands and holds in memories yet, who's barely 3. How would a 3-year-old feel about her family not being able to hold her or hug her anymore? It's like, would she feel like the sort of mature altruism that we see in anime, or would she get violent? Would she be selfish? It's not fair. I'm going to stay here until they notice me. Maybe that's how a normal 3-year-old would act, but then they would see, what if they did get a new baby? How would the child feel about that? Is her in the culture in the show, a lot of people thought it was controversial that they froze her brain, because it was like the head on the head of the corpse is the seat of the soul, which is in the brain, and so they thought that they were trapping her soul there, and her soul won't be at rest. Which, whether you believe that or not, it feels a little bit eerie in that, maybe the cryogenics people are just, exploiting this family's pain. It could be that, but we're not even in the place where we could bring people back from the dead, and this girl died, but they preserved her body within minutes of her death and took her head and put it in the thing. And it's sad, she was full of life. She was very cute. And would she feel very sad seeing her family like this? Or would she be like, I'd like to stay with my family until they're okay, and then when they're okay, I can go somewhere else now. It's a little sad. Makes me a little sad, but try not to get emotional about it. But yeah, that's it for iPad, tour. I'm sorry that there wasn't a lot of enough, but this is what what I've been working on other than the sketchbook stuff. And, some commissions are, I would prefer not to show that, because that's up to the commissioner for me to show some of that stuff off. So I'm going to talk to you guys another time soon. I'm going to get the stickers fully made, shipped hopefully by next month, and a new avatar illustration and coloring page will be posted henceforth. So thank you guys for coming around and looking at my artwork. I appreciate y'all who support me. And for those of y'all that do want to see this video, without being a patron, you can wait about a month after when I make another one, and that's when I usually upload these. You have to wait like about a month. But for those of you that are in the cool guy zone in Patreon land, you get to see this on time this month. So thank you again, guys. Y'all take care and peace out. Bye.